हे कृष्णा कर्ण सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रियै जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे Okay, welcome everyone. So we continue the chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita, which is called as the universal form. Let's pay our obeisances to Shri Radha Govinda Hare Krishna before we proceed. So we studied till verse 34. Is that what we did last time? Where or did we study Arjun's prayers as well? So in the first part of the chapter, Arjun is requesting Krishna to show the universal form, and then we discussed what makes Arjun request Krishna to show the universal form. And then Krishna describes the universal form, then gives him the vision to see the universal form, and then shows the universal form, and then Arjun becomes very wondrous. And then he asks, "Who are you?" And Krishna explains that I am the time factor. And all the assembled parties are not going home other than the five brothers, you five brothers. So just become an instrument in my hand because they're already killed. And then Arjun offers prayers to Krishna after seeing the universal form and also knowing the reason behind the universal form, which is the time. I think we have to do the last part today, right? Anya Mataji, you're muted.
Yes, Mataji, last part.
So we'll do the last part. So the Arjun first put a request in the beginning of the chapter to show the universal form, and then he puts a request to wind up the universal form. What makes Arjun request Krishna to wind up the universal form? Because he was so keen to see it. What made him wind it up? Like request Krishna that please now, kind of bahut ho gaya. You now wind it up. Kirti Mataji, are we live or not?
Yes, Mataji, we are live.
Because you made me host, that's why I was skeptical.
Yes, Mataji. You're live.
Okay, thank you. What makes Arjun request Krishna to wind up the universal form?
He was very fearful after seeing that.
Okay. What made him fearful? Was it fear?
He says your terrible teeth, and he says all those things, Mataji. He gets really scared looking at like so effulgent, such a bright form there.
So didn't we discuss last time that Prabhupada explains in one of the verses that there was no fear, but it was wonder. Remember verse number 20 something in purport he writes. But Prabhupada explains in this verse, 45th verse, the word afraid. But then the reason given is that he was afraid not because of the form, but because of the offenses that he committed. See, Arjun's request to see Krishna's four-handed form indicates that all other forms of Krishna, all forms are one with Krishna. So Arjun is afraid and joyful simultaneously. He's afraid because of so many offenses that he committed, because of becoming familiar to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's joyful because he's gladdened by knowing that his friend's opulence as Supreme Personality of Godhead and his ability to show the universal form. Okay, so what makes him wind up? Because he is unstable in that relationship of being wonder, adbhuta. So he wants to resume the Sakhya Bhav. Okay, it's not that yes, he is bewildered, but remember we discussed that there was no question of fear. 1 second, let me just fill up that verse. Which verse was that? We studied it last time. Am I audible or I'm just talking to
Yes,
myself?
Mataji. Yes.
Okay. कौन सा verse था वो? That there is no question of fear. Verse number 14. Prabhupada writes, then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on, let me pull up the verse. I'll pull it up here. Verse number, in verse number 14, last paragraph of the,
Yeah, he was not, of course, afraid.
yeah. Then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjun bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. So Arjun was here. Arjun was inspired by the relationship of wonder, and in that wonder, although he was by nature very sober, calm, and quiet, he became aesthetic. His hair stood up, and he began to offer obeisances unto the Supreme Lord with folded hand. He was not, of course, afraid. He was affected by the wonders of the Supreme Lord. The immediate context is wonder. His natural loving relationship was overwhelmed by wonder, and thus he reacted in this way. Clear?
But Mataji, the translation of the shloka 45, it says, at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear.
Yes. So we discussed now what is the fear. So where is the fear coming from? Is it fear of the Prabhupada writes in the purport, at the same time, after seeing that universal form, he is afraid that he has committed so many offenses to Krishna. You can look at my screen. Out of his unalloyed friendship. Thus, his mind is disturbed out of fear, although he had no reason to fear. Okay, so it's not that because there are teeth and because everyone is getting crushed and come on, he's a Kshatriya, you know. So and because he's like what do you say? There's so many faces. Yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. He's scared because oh my God, Krishna was a big shot and I was like, you know, taking him for granted and not being very respectful of who he is. We laid in the same bed, we ate from the same plate, we behaved like friends, but oh my God, you're something else like that. This is what he's saying, right? Although he had no reason to fear. Clear or not clear?
Yes,
This is called reading in between lines. Or this is called we know it, but actually we don't know it. I feel like that was me. Okay, I'm not an exception. Okay, in this section, Krishna will again. No, you didn't answer my question. What made Arjun request Krishna to wind up the universal form? I only am speaking.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I?
Yes,
Because
Mataji.
he wanted to
If Anya
establish.
Mataji doesn't answer, this class has no voice.
So I think I should keep quiet, let them answer.
No, then this class, nobody. Okay, Nikhil Prabhu sometimes some says Kirti Mataji, sometimes Linit Prabhu, sometimes says Darshan Prabhu, I hear him, sometimes. Anvay Mataji, tak. So no, this class has no voice if Anvay Mataji doesn't come. Yes, Mataji, go ahead. You are the
Yeah,
face
so
of the
he
class.
wanted to re-establish his relationship with Krishna as a friend. You know, his previous relationship where he used to joke with Krishna or, take his opinion. So that kind of relationship was lost as a friend. And to regain that relationship, he requested Krishna to to go back to his 200 form. It's my understanding.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, I mean, of course, we want to get back to. There's no. Can you have a relationship with universal form? It's like Namanishwar who explained once in the analogy that let's say somebody goes to a tailor and to stitch a dress for Krishna. Like I get dresses stitched for Radha Govinda from Vrindavan. So I gave him the measurement. So this is a real thing. I go to this person in Vrindavan and I say, choose the fabric, I tell the pattern, and then the person stitches and then he ships to Bangalore. मगर अगर यूनिवर्सल फॉर्म के लिए ड्रेस स्टिच करानी होगी तो कितना, how are you going to do the measurement? How will you do? अरे, can you do or not do?
No, we can't do.
No, madam.
So you cannot have a personal relationship, right? Linit Prabhu, yes, Prabhu, your hand is raised.
Mataji, it was just one thing. I was just checking my notes from last class. Mataji, you didn't do the previous section, Mataji. We stopped at verse number 34. We didn't do Arjuna's prayers to withdraw the universal form. I went back and I checked the YouTube recording right now, and you said we'll do it next class.
Finally, somebody is awake. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Or you had lunch, but you didn't eat, maybe. That's why India people are still like. I thought I'll be saved, but okay. Okay, so now pay attention then, and you can put it on my head. The teacher didn't teach. Madam, you didn't teach, right? You were asking out of syllabus question in your exam. Do you get the out of syllabus question? पूछ लिया, पढ़ाया है नहीं, question पूछ लिया, है ना? So, okay, Arjun's prayers. So Arjun is offering prayers. Sanjay said to Dhritarashtra, "O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjun trembled, fearfully offered obeisances with folded hands, and began faltering to speak as follows." So again, there are many verses in which we can see that fear word is mentioned or afraid word is mentioned, but it is not in context with the with literally being fearful of the universal forms. The fear is about the guilt, from what are we understanding? Or if we can go back and look at Prabhupada's purport to 35. I don't recall reading what is Prabhupada writing. Let's look at it. Maybe I should bring it up here. Why is he fearful here? Fearfully offered obeisances. Is Prabhupada explaining? Somebody read the purport. Chota sa purport hai, it's not a big purport.
Yes, Mataji. Should I?
Yeah, please
35?
go.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. As we have already explained, because of the situation created by the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjun became bewildered in wonder. Thus, he began to offer his respectful obeisances to Krishna again and again, and with faltering voice, he began to pray, not as a friend, but as a devotee in wonder.
Okay, so the feeling is wonder, even though here we are saying that he fearfully spoke to Krishna, but actually this fear is arising because of the wonder and not because of literal, like fright or flight response that we are accustomed to, which makes me feel that I wonder if there are many kinds of fear, which there are, right? Anyway, so, "O Rishikesh, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done." So this is one more verse. This is my favorite verse of this chapter. But one more verse where it indicates that the universal form was not seen just by Arjun. Okay, the universal form was seen by many other people there. So when you read Bhagavad Gita 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, try to extrapolate like what are the highlights of the chapter. Okay, so does the world become joyful upon hearing our name? All hail to whoever's okay, Kirti Mataji from Australia. And of course, we become joyful on hearing her name for sure. I become personally very joyful. She's very helpful to me. And she's a very nice devotee. But the world becomes like Brahma becomes joyful, Indra becomes joyful, Lord Shiva becomes joyful. Yeah. Anybody has that privilege? Actually, if we become a pure devotee of Krishna, like Narad Muni, we hear his name, we become joyful, right? So it automatically happens. But that is on account of Krishna's mercy. But without Krishna, there is no joy. There's only concerns that how are we going to carry on. A materialistic person, first of all, doesn't know how long they're going to live, or none of us actually know how long we're going to live, but at least we have a whole agenda planned out of living, right? We're not like, oh, what am I going to do? But a person in the material world, they get like lost. There's a sense of being lost, in the sense that now what? Okay, I was working to achieve this particular ambition, now what? I was working to achieve this particular thing in my life, I achieved, now what? So there's no Krishna. So then now what comes? But for a devotee of Krishna, also now what comes is, now I have done this chapter, now what? I'm gonna do another chapter. Now then what? Then I'm gonna, there's always something joyful to look for. O great one who stands even above even Brahma, you are the original master. Why should they not offer their homage up to you, O limitless one, O refuge of the universe? You are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. So he's saying the same thing again and again and again. You see, you are the original, the original personality, the Godhead. You are the only sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You know everything and you are all that is knowable. You are above the material modes, O limitless one. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. So Prabhupada once said in a class I was hearing, I do not know why people cannot see God, because I see God everywhere. So a pure devotee of Krishna can give that vision to a conditioned soul. Like if Arjun is representing a conditioned soul, which he's not, but if he's representing or acting, then here he's saying this whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. So there is Krishna everywhere. We just don't want to see it. You are the air. You are the supreme controller. You are fire. You are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature. You are the great grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times and again and yet again. It's very, very like happy, very, very wondrous. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, from all sides. O unbound power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading and thus you are everything. You can sense the repetition, right? You can sense the repetition, how he's praying. So basically, Arjun's prayer is going in a context. He's saying three main things in all these prayers. You are the ultimate rest of everything and all knowledge. You are the essence of everything. And I offer my obeisances from front, behind, and from all sides. Okay, so we can even say Sambandha Gyan, Prayojan Gyan, and Sambandha Gyan, Abhiday Gyan, and Prayojan Gyan. Sambandha Gyan, what is the relationship between Krishna and all of us? And then what is the activity? That you are the essence and I am supposed to be subservient. And then what are the dynamics of relationship and what are the activities of relationship? Is we are supposed to be subservient or subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not literally, but you can take it like that. The Sambandha Gyan, Abhiday Gyan, and Prayojan Gyan. Here Arjuna is expressing his heart. I have in the past addressed you as, O Krishna, O Yadav, O my friend, without knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times while relaxing or while lying on the same bed or eating together. Sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. Please excuse me for all my offenses. You see, in a friend can do all this to another friend. We don't ask forgiveness to our friend that, oh, I was eating with you or I was sitting with you. But Arjun is doing it because of the wonder. You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. See, this is the complete vision of God. We say that in God we trust, but actually do we really trust? Because we have a very incomplete vision of God. In many religious sects, a lot of sects in religion, the faith is the ultimate end, right? In God we trust or have faith in God, right? So their agenda or their understanding of God ends when one develops faith in God. But in Vaishnava philosophy, faith is just a beginning, like Shraddha and Sadhusanga and Bhajan Kriya. So we have a complete vision of who Krishna is, who we are. That is why I'm not saying that there is a comparison. Even Prabhupada said that other religious philosophers can give a complete vision, but the way it is presented at the given moment, this is what we see usually, right? In God we trust, or have faith in God, develop faith. I was, there is a church near my house, and outside the church there is always like a screen, and they always have some verse from Bible. So last night when I was coming, I was, you can't miss it. You're driving and it's there. There's everything is possible for one who has faith. So that's what I was written outside the church last night. I mean, I kind of now look for what's written now. Let's say one time there was this, what is missing in church? So church is like CHURCH, right? So they had dropped the middle UR, and they said, what is missing in church is UR. Did you get what I'm saying? So they put all these things, and then I was listening to Prabhupada in my car, and I was listening, and I was looking at that. I said, "Oh yaar, their life is ending in just having a faith, and our life begins with faith. That faith, Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajan Kriya. I mean, it's a very kind of like not a very complete vision of who God is, who we are. Because they say that, okay, you love God, have trust in God, but then they say that, okay, you can actually kill the other living entities. How is it possible? Okay, if I say I love Anvaya Mataji, but I'm not going to, love Saroja. I'm not going to love her upcoming grandchild. I'm, not gonna do. But I partially, or I love her right arm, but I don't like her left arm. Array, it doesn't make sense, no? So, so like that, you're the father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. Krishna himself says it. Where does he say it? Where does he say? What is the verse? Bolo. Moving and the non-moving. I'm the source of everything. This Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyate Sachara Acharam. Hetu Nanena Kantaya Jagat Viparivartate. So Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sachara Acharan. Right? Under my supervision, everything is coming into manifestation from the material nature. Chara and achara. Chara means one who can walk, and achara means one who cannot walk. So moving and non-moving. So, complete vision, moving and non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is greater than you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within these three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? So it says, if somebody cannot be greater than God, then how God has parents? This is the question which was raised. Because our parents are greater than us, right? Or you think you're greater than your parents? Huh? So our parents are greater than us?
Yes, Mataji.
But God has parents, so how come if no one is greater than him, then how come he has parents?
That is his pastime.
Like how?
Because he loves his devotees, and to grant their wish, he comes as their son.
Okay, very nice. Now, Damodar month is, that's one way of understanding. Very nice. Now, I can also, give a little bit more argument just to get more understanding. Is like in Damodar Leela, okay, it was a pastime, the parent wants to serve Krishna. the devotee wants to serve Krishna in Vatsalya Ras, so he gives the opportunity to become his parents and play like that. But in Damodar Leela, like, do you go so extreme that you can get like being bound up and Mother Yashoda is running with a danda in her hand and he's running for his life? Like, he's running for his life. Have you, were you ever chased by your parent with a danda or a shoe or something or like running for your life? Hmm? So how
No,
do you explain
Mataji.
that? How do you explain that? Actually, I can go even more deep. You want to go even more deep? So in Nectar of Devotion, what is that verse which explains the definition of bhakti? What is the first verse? Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami Prabhupada explains all the oh Krishna. What is the first? Just give me the first verse. It's very, very famous. The definition of bhakti.
Is it Anya Abhilashita Shunya Mataji?
हाँ,
That verse?
ज्ञान कर्म अनावृतम. Then
Anukulena Krishnanu Sevanam
Krishnanush.
Bhaktiruttima.
Bhakti. Thank you. Thank you. And stay with me, Ambika Mataji, if I mess up. So Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. ठीक है? So Anya Abhilashita, Abhilasha means desire, right? Anya means any other. So Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. Shunyam means void. Like cancel it out. So any other desire is not allowed. What is allowed is a desire to serve Krishna. Jnana, karma, anavritam. So jnana and karma is allowed, but only to the extent that it actually leads us to Krishna. If it is not leading us to Krishna, it's not allowed. I'm doing a very rapid fire, but when we come to Nectar of Devotion, we'll hopefully relish more if this class is still sustained by Anya Mataji. Okay, so Anya Rashta Shunyam, Jnana Karma Anamitam, Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. So Anukul Bhakti. Now, the general understanding of Anukul Bhakti is Anukul means which actually pleases Krishna, which is serving Krishna. Let's say we can say that Hiranyakashipu, poor guy, he gave his body, right? Krishna killed him, and Krishna opened his, not only killed him, but in a very ghastly manner, with the tip of his fingernail, he actually pierced his body and brought out all the intestines, drank his blood, and put his intestines around his neck. So basically, we can say one way of looking at this whole scenario is the Hiranyakashipu has served Krishna with his body, and this should be pleasing to Krishna. But in another way, we have Damodar Leela, where Mother Yashoda has picked up a stick and she's running behind Krishna. And Krishna is running. He's really running. And it's Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam. So he's like, the necklace of pearls is shaking. His breathing is very quick and his eyes are welled up with tears. So he's very, very fearful. So which of the two scenarios is bhakti? Where Hiranyakashipu has given his body and he's like, Krishna is like enjoying the organs of his body. He's enjoying. This ghastly enjoyment for us, but he's enjoying. Krishna is not dependent on our definition of enjoyment. But in Damodar Leela, Mother Yashoda is running and he's obviously very fearful. So which is bhakti? Are,
The second one is Bhakti Mataji.
but how? How
Mother
do you
Yashoda.
say that? How do you say that?
Because she is doing it with love. Because she loves
What kind of
Krishna.
love is this? I run behind you with a stick.
Motherly love, Mataji.
That is child abuse. So, okay, I'm just kidding. So what the Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam really means is that what pleases Krishna. Okay, it may not be just by the way we think of pleasing Krishna. We might think of Krishna just with flowers. But he is getting pleased with the scoldings of his mother. Right? Or in Bhagavatam, there is a commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the battlefield of Mahabharat, when the Bhishma Dev was shooting arrows to Krishna. It was touching Krishna's body and blood was also coming out. Right? And Krishna, it was very, very pleasing to Krishna. So much pleasing that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Prabhupada explains this, actually compares that shooting of arrow from Bhishma Dev to Krishna and Krishna accepting that as his bhakti, as like flowers being thrown by one lover to another lover. They love it when a lover throws the flowers. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur speaking, okay? I'm not speaking this. So how come? Because we say that, okay, if we can offer Krishna elaborate bhoga, elaborate, what do you say, services, very like opulence, then that will please Krishna. But here we are seeing, and I gave example of Vidura's wife giving banana peels to Krishna and throwing the fruit, giving the skin, throwing the fruit, giving the skin, Krishna accepting it. So it all depends on how Krishna takes it. So the lesson learned is in a relationship, even in our day-to-day relationships, because everything is coming from Krishna, is what is more important is not the way we treat the other person, but how the other person takes us. Okay. I may be like, treating my child with the best ability of being a parent. But if my child is like getting suffocated with that, then that is more important than me treating the way, okay? We have to revisit. That is so Anukulana Krishna Anushilanam. So Anukul Bhakti is this Bhakti. Then what is the last line? Bhaktir Uttama. That is Uttama Bhakti. Okay, so when you say that no one, why did we come up with all this? That measure, how do you have a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in what context? And then the pure bhakti is not just an elaborate. You know this, right? Sanatan Goswami and Madan Mohan. You know the pastime, right? There's so many examples we can give. So Sanatan Goswami used to write, right? And Madan Mohan was his deity. And when we go to Vrindavan, there is a sequence one has to follow, right? When you go to, you know that, right? When we go to Vrindavan, we first of all pay obeisances to Gopeshwar Mahadev. Then we go to Sambandh Gyan Didi, which is Madan Mohan. And then Abhide, Govindji, and then Gopinath. And then we start our Vrindavan Parikrama. But so Madan Mohan, Sanatan Goswami, you used to write, and he would live under one tree one night, another tree another night, and he would offer some chipped rice or something to Krishna. And Madan Mohan told Sanatan Goswami one time, this is very dry, add some ghee. Add some ghee to it, or make some chapati with some ghee. It's very dry what you're offering. So Sanatan Goswami told Madan Mohan, this is the best you can get. Let me write. So the understanding is, I'm so sorry, this is so sweet. The understanding is that the devotee controls Krishna. So then Madan Mohan asked, why are you saying that? I'm God. I'm asking you to give me this. He said, today you're asking me for ghee. Tomorrow you'll ask me for something. I'm very sorry. Tomorrow you'll ask me for something else. And after tomorrow you'll ask me for something else. I have to write. I have to write. I have to do this service. I cannot just go. We cannot do that. We cannot be, to us, it will be like, oh my God, God is asking and I'm not giving. But to them, they're at a level where they're relishing the mellow. Okay. So that's where bhakti can take us, and not just end in God we trust. That's the beginning. Okay. It's the beginning of our journey. That, okay, we trust, then now what? Then we do Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha, then we actually go and associate with people, and so on and so forth. Understood? that what is Anukul Bhakti according to our acharyas and our sampradaya, that is why we are complete. So we have complete understanding, moving and non-moving. So you are the supreme Lord to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impertinence of a friend, of impudence of his son, and a friend the impertinence of a friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. So nice, na? He's like, it's so nice, like it is like that Krishna, I'm sorry, I behaved like a friend to you. I'm so sorry that actually I shouldn't have done it. So which is like Krishna must be, imagine Krishna must be relishing ki isko kya ho gaya. You know, we can sometimes say that isko kya ho gaya, like how are you not taking me? Anyway, Krishna also, okay, Krishna in a way is impartial, but let me ask this. In a way, he's impartial. Like he says, I'm like, na me dvishtasya na priyaha. I'm impartial. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. So he says many times in Bhagavad Gita, I'm not partial. But tell me that out of the primary rasas and the secondary rasas, which pleases him more? Where is his more, like, where is his full expression of him being Krishna? Primary rasas or secondary rasas? Is
Secondary
the
rasas.
question clear? Huh?
Secondary rasas.
So secondary rasas, you know that, right? There's 7, they're only feelings.
Last time you mentioned that, Mataji.
Yeah. So what I'm asking is, where do you think is the full expression of relationship with with his devotees, in primary rasas or secondary rasas? Is my question clear?
Yes, Mataji. Primary rasas, Mataji.
Okay, okay. Nikhil Prabhu, what makes you say secondary rasas? And
The
then Lini
emotions,
Prabhu.
Mataji. The way we relate to God.
What
The
are the
emotions.
secondary rasas? Tell me, give some example.
Fear. Oh, yaar.
Okay,
Pakad
wonder,
liya.
fear.
Yeah, fear,
And then,
wonder, love.
okay, these are the, I'll bring out the slide. So these are the primary rasas and secondary rasas. So laughter, wonder, chivalry, pathetic feeling, anger, disaster, fearfulness. And these are the primary rasas. Okay. So Nikhil Prabhu is saying Krishna's expression of fully being Krishna. He is fully able to express himself as Krishna in secondary rasas. And what makes you say that?
Because Mataji, this is the effect. This is the real, emotions. We connect with our feelings. We connect with Lord with our emotions, not with
So
the
you
activity.
are saying that Sakhya Ras mein we don't connect with the feeling of.
This is sorry, God. So this is the method. We are we are Sakhya or we are Dasya. But how does that convert into feelings is coming in the secondary. It's the feelings that make us connected with our friends or with our associates.
Okay, thank you. Linit Prabhu, what makes you say what you said?
Mataji, the 5 primary rasas as they are, those are the kind of rasas that we exhibit with people who are closest to us, and we show our true selves to people who are only close to us.
Okay,
So-
and then the secondary.
Mataji, can I?
1 second, I don't think he's done.
No, Mataji, that's it. I don't have anything else to say.
Okay, okay. Anandya Mataji, nothing is complete without you.
No, Mataji, I feel that the primary rasas, in the primary rasas, the secondary rasas are included.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, with the Damodar Leela, which took place in Vrindavan, was Yashoda Mata, she tied him with the rope. Okay, so she was in Vatsalya Bhav. But with the anger, she could bind him. So the full expression comes in the secondary. The full, see, you asked your question was that how does Krishna, fully express his emotion, something like that, no? The expression part.
Krishna being Krishna. Where is Krishna being Krishna more?
Yeah,
In
so
primary or
like,
secondary?
yeah, so like in this kind of exchange of mellows, he is like behaving like the perfect child.
Okay. Okay.
Or
Thank you.
even with the Leela that took place in Golok Vrindavan, the same Damodar Leela, it has been said that Radharani was waiting for him and Krishna came late, so she tied him with her golden kamar patta. Some I've read it somewhere. So see, the full expression comes because of the secondary rasa, and then Krishna behaves, just like that.
Okay, so we'll read the verse. So, chief transcendental mellows experience with the Supreme Personality of Godhead are 5: Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. In addition to the 5 direct mellows, there are 7 indirect mellows. So, even the Shastras are saying that they are indirect, but the direct is this. Okay, basically, unless and until we have a relationship established, how can we just play out our feelings? You see, I cannot be like a friend to somebody walking on the road and to behave like very friendly, put my hand around their shoulder and say, okay, let's go out, let's sit down. Can I? Or laugh with them? No, because the relationship defines the dynamics of what the feelings are going to be. Right? That's how we build the boundaries. So the chief transcendental mellows, even it is written there. So the primary is more important. It's not that more important because everything is important, but where Krishna being Krishna in that particular mellow will be fully expressed, and feelings will be exhibited when the relationship is defined. And it is true for us also because it is true in Krishna. Right? Where there is a verse we were discussing. Srimad Bhagavatam the other day, I'll pull up, where I discussed this part over there, 5th canto, 13th chapter, where Jad Bharat is talking to Maharaj Rahugan. The chapter 13, where Maharaj Rahugan directly tells Rahugan that you are also captivated by external energy. You see, my dear King Rahugan, you are also a victim of the external energy, being situated on the path of attraction to material pleasure. So I discussed that this can be taken as a very judgmental statement. You're also a victim of the external energy being situated on the path of attraction to material pleasure. But it is not a judgmental statement. Why? Because Rahugan has surrendered to Jad Bharat as a spiritual master. So when there is the relationship is defined, it's very defined, right? Are you understanding? Then it is not a judgmental statement. But if I tell this to somebody that I don't have a defined relationship dynamics with, then it is a judgmental statement. It can even be taken as an offense by the other person. Am I making sense?
Last point was not clear, Mataji.
What is not clear?
Relationship. The bond, you were saying the relationship was defined, and then the last sentences that you mentioned.
So it is not a judgmental statement. No, this can be, you are also a victim of the external energy, being situated on the path of attraction to material pleasure. This statement, if you just look at this statement, how bullying happens, like people passing comment on other people. But if we have a relationship with my friend or with my family and they say something to me, I will not take this statement as bullying because there is a relation dynamics. Am I making sense? It is important to understand, because you need to understand that whatever is happening in our life is happening because it is happening really in Krishna. So there's nothing which is independent. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, out of the primary and secondary rasas, primary rasas are chief. It's written here, chief transcendental mellows. And they are indirect mellows. Why they are chief? Because it is defined that I'm going to behave like a friend. So in a friend, these are the set of feelings or emotions or activities which are allowed. As a Vatsalya, it is allowed to Mother Yashoda to bind Krishna. to run behind him. And Prabhupada explains it in a very sweet manner also, that Mother Yashoda, you should hear Prabhupada's lecture on Damodar Lila. The Mother Yashoda is saying, Krishna, I was churning this yogurt into butter for you so that you will eat it and then you will become fatty. But now you have disrupted my service. Now, how will I feed you and how will you become fatty? There is so much love there, right? There's so much affection in that particular emotion. And she's okay. Now you have disrupted my service. Now you're supposed to, take my anger out. So the anger comes out of the disruption of service, and the service come because of love. Make sense or no? Think about it. Andrea Mataji, does it make sense to you? Because you look unconvinced.
Yes, Mataji.
It's very sweet. Krishna consciousness is very sweet, right? So after seeing this universal form, which I've never seen before, I'm gladdened. Thank you, Krishna. But at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear. This is where we understood that fear at 45th. Because of the offenses, not because of the fearful, ghastly form. Okay, therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O Lord of the universe. So Arjun requests to see the four-handed form indicates that all the forms are one in Krishna. This we know from first canto, third chapter, right? Krishna is a source of all incarnation. Ete cha anshakalah pumsa. Who knows the verse? Okay. Who knows the verse? Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Indravi Vyakulam Lokam. Vidyanti Yuge Yuge. So, Ete cha anshakalah pumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. So, Ete cha anshakalah pumsa. Ansha means part, na? Ansh. So, Punsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. All these are parts of Krishna's original form, but Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all the forms are one with Krishna. Different Narayans are named according to different configurations of the four hands, right? Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. So then, or Gada, Shankha, Padma, Chakra. But our mathematical permutations and combinations fail there because there are so many ways it can be arranged. So many ways. So we cannot count. We can say, okay, logically and, mathematically, I can calculate there are these many combinations which are possible. But it fails there. Because somewhere Krishna is holding the shankh in the palm, somewhere he's holding in the finger, somewhere. Everything is so minutely controlled that our logic completely goes out of the window. So it indicates that Arjun is afraid and joyful simultaneously. And he's joyful because he's gladdened by knowing his friend's opulence as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his ability to show the universal form. He's afraid because of so many offenses that he committed. We studied that. Universal form is temporary, Vaikuntha form is transcendental, four-handed and eternal. Krishna can assume any form as he is asked here to show his Narayan form. So in future, if somebody says, I'm God, then tell them to show universal form and then tell them to show Narayan form at the same time. Not like going behind the curtains and changing dress. Okay. Kirtinam gadinam chakrahastam ichhami tvam drishtam aham tatheva. Te neva rupena chaturbhujena sahasrabaho bhava vishwamurte. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-arm form, which with helmeted head and with club-wheel conch and lotus. Flower in your hands, I long to see you in that form. So he's completely convinced that how Krishna is indeed the source, but for a devotee, service to Krishna is more important, and service means establishing and reinforcing the relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then you want a form for that, the form of Krishna as he is, not the form that he can exhibit in his power manifestation. The devotees some devotees are so exalted. I have a friend, she portrays as a very common person, but she's very exalted. So one time we went to New York, so Radha Govinda temple. So she's in Gita Nagari. The Gita Nagari is like Krishna is treated as like a village, like a Vrindavan boy. He's, locally grown flowers, and he's dressed with the peacock feather and very like a childlike dressing. But Radha Govinda is like completely opulent. In New York, it's like very, very opulent. So I went with her to Radha Govinda temple, and then we were standing, and then she suddenly tells me, this looks like I've come to Dwarka, like, because this Krishna in Dwarka. So there's so much opulence, so much of adorance, so much of awe and reverence, because in Gita Nagari, we worship Krishna in Vaikuntha mood. So just by standing with a devotee, and I did not have any of these feelings. I had no idea. But when she said that, it made so much sense to me that how do we associate with the deities that we worship? So you need to know how you're associating with your deities that you worship. In what mood? Is it Dwarka opulence? She said it feels like it's Dwarka, the glaring effulgence of his dress, the jewelry, the decoration, the whole atmosphere is like surcharged with opulence, opulence, opulence. But you go to Vrindavan, it's like so simple. There are cows, right? And there are peacocks, and there is Krishna, and he gets to eat what were like locally grown food in a very simple manner. So it's different. I think you all need to come. You need to come to Gita Nagari, and then I'll take you to Radha Govinda, and then I'll ask you the difference. Okay. So should we go ahead or should we stop here?
We'll stop, Mataji.
Yeah, I can see how tired you are. So anyway, so we studied that. It is some of the key things. Actually, we covered a lot. That Arjuna is offering prayers. He's offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because of the wonder. And he's offering prayers. A friend is not going to offer prayers to another friend. Do you do that? Yeah, is it Anvya Mataji, do I offer you prayers?
No, Mataji.
Because you're friends, Anna. But he's offering prayers to universal form, and because of the wonder that he has come into. But he's not comfortable with that. So he's requesting Krishna to show. And it is important to understand that he is afraid and joyful at the same time. And what is the reason behind the two feelings. And then I think I discussed a lot more about Vaishnava philosophy, which might not have been connected directly with the chapters. I'm sorry. But I think it's okay to know anyway, right? We'll finish this chapter next week. Any questions, reflections, realizations, or corrections? Please read the chapter, the whole chapter next week. Please read it.